Yes, we are here. We are here today. Okay. Been here a while at the school as always, but I'm here until 8 o'clock. So I'm going to be here for an hour and a half to take on any questions, to take on any builds, to address. Um, about anything that I have ever said in my entire life, anything that you have ever heard me say. I'm here to answer it, answer to it. Yeah. It becomes very difficult. People, they suffer a lot. They have to answer to the things that they once said that they no longer agree with. And most people, they either let it go because they see this hypocrisy within themselves or fear these contradictions. One of the best ways to be consistent is to calculate your speech sincerely, as best as you can. You know, right? Because no matter how long I have been here, there's still a million things that I don't know, right? So that should inform us every time. Original man, author, peace. All right. Again, to make knowledge born. Everybody's online here. If you're in the New York City area, know that I'm consistently here every Thursday to build with personally. Um, you're always going to get something more profound in that way. Okay. Um, Today's mathematics is knowledge. I'm ready for all the wrong answers. Um, Anybody have an idea what knowledge is? I'd like to hear it.
No, a nigga did that on New Year's night. Going into the liquor store. What? You didn't hear me? God, I picked that shit up.
There's a positive perspective. Okay. All right. This build is quite the mantra. I know I'm the one that must get it done. Why? Because it won't be without me. Done what? Everything I need and more want in my life. Where? Everywhere I go. When? Today and every day. Okay, Born Rahim, never say peace. Never say again, knowledge means to know, okay? Do not use the word that you were defining in the definition, okay? That is not an answer, okay? So skip that part. Know means to be aware. Okay, okay, that's better. Now, Goods, tell me, what is knowledge, though? What is knowledge? See, you say knowledge is to be aware. That still means the state of by which you have knowledge. So someone with knowledge would be aware, but you still haven't answered what is knowledge. Okay. Goods, you told me everything that you would do sparked by knowledge and getting knowledge. Haven't told me what knowledge is yet. Okay. Is knowledge the facts or the accumulation? You're in this definition, knowledge is the accumulation of acts, then that means that you are defining knowledge as an action. That means that it is a verb still. And I'm asking, I don't think knowledge is a verb. Knowledge is not a verb. We use it as a verb. Okay? We use it grammatically different. I'm not going to say incorrect. We use it grammatically different. Okay? But it's not a verb. Okay? Accumulation of facts means that it's a verb. The action of accumulating facts. Still a verb. It's not the accumulation of facts. Knowledge is not the accumulation of facts. Because the act of accumulation is not knowledge. If someone asks you what is knowledge, and you said it's the accumulation of facts, and someone could go out there and just accumulate, but the act of accumulating is not the definition of what knowledge is. Okay, let's go again. Let's see. Raheem, you're only adding too much to it. Okay? That's the only error in what I'm seeing here. Good, you said knowledge is the factual information. Okay. I gain through listening, observing. All things that come in contact with it is what I use to make sound decisions. Okay. Knowledge is factual information. Everything else you said is okay, but it is not what knowledge is. Okay. Knowledge is factual information. Okay, let's mind that. Okay. See, I think doing this. I do this every time. It's the first. Observation is absolutely is not knowledge. That is an act. Okay? Knowledge is a noun, it is not a verb. The act of gaining knowledge is not knowledge. Why is this important? It's important because we have to learn how to articulate, put into words, how do we discern the differences? Okay? How do we discern the difference between something that is truly knowledge and something that is merely information? Something that could be factually correct, but not useful knowledge. Then the difference between what is knowledge as a principle in supreme mathematics, supreme knowledge. What does it mean in our language? Right? Peace to the God, King Kamal. See, the knowledge day and the God day. The words that we use the most are the words that we get the wrong the most. Okay? Good, you said clarity as to how I plan to live my life freely. Then apply all the above into energy use to share who I am and I'm gonna be. It's no problem there. There's no problem there. Right now, I'm seeking the answer to knowledge, though. Okay, so everything you're saying is correct, but it's not all okay, all applicable to my answer to my question. All right. So you said so they can add on properly, also take away that brings it into existence and completes my quest. Right, that assumes that you had a question to be answered. So even by there, if I'm being a stickler, everybody's wrong today. Just remember, everybody's wrong today. Just being really into that. That brings into existence and completes my quest. That means that the origins of your quest happen to be from a question. So there's all knowledge derived from the completion of a question, the answering of a question. There was another thing. That is not so. Raheem, you said so a verifiable fact. now you're getting somewhere. What makes a fact verifiable? You see? Think about this world that we live in the 85, and if you said a verifiable fact, if they see something and it gets fact checked by the same organizations that own Big Pharma, by the same organizations that are running the corporations and own the media, and it gets fact checked in favor of them, that's said to be a verifiable fact, right? Peace, divine Allah. What is knowledge? How do we teach what is knowledge in the supreme way that we mean it, as opposed to just having them learn endless things? Accumulation of facts would be endless things. We say verifiable acts, right? And we're on to something there. But then what is verifiable? Because they would have been verifying things by what? Any problem that this nation is having, that anyone is having, is going to be rooted in the insufficient way that they define knowledge and God. Today we're dealing with today's mathematics. Okay, good. That's peace. That's peace. All right. But there are more people, I'm sure, here that they can add on to, right? This is a day, the knowledge day, where I'd like everyone to be wrong. Everyone will be almost there. Everyone's best answers will be decent. Everybody's excellent answers, though, will only springboard into what to do with those answers. So, I will eventually. I will eventually. King Kamal, let's see. You said knowledge is the groundwork laid for where I see myself and who I am as God, a civilized person, lining up my Quran history left behind for others to learn from. Very interesting, these angles, very similar to what Goods you said. We are very good at telling us what type of knowledge you are seeking. Right? What type of knowledge? Good question, Wise Supreme. I'll answer that in a little bit. Right? There's an answer you don't want to hear for that. There's other answers to help. But the main answer, you may not want to hear it. King and Goods, you gave me the answer focused to how you intend to use it. Okay? So it's a specific knowledge for you that you will use to better yourself. The problem with that definition is that no one else can use it. Everyone else can use that definition that you gave, including King and Goods. It's not wrong, but it's an incorrect definition for just knowledge because it cannot be used by anyone else. You see? It'll be used by anyone else, though, by their good judgment. In other words, if the definition leaves other people using the word, filling in the blanks, then it's not a complete definition. It's missing stuff. King says, is the groundwork laid for how I see myself. So I think how I see myself, who I am, I see myself as a good man, right? I'm not there yet. I'm sometimes civilized. I'm not really. These are sound bites. People could use them against me, but I'm just giving character here. But anyway, it's for the trolls. I use this knowledge that I get to make my history, and hopefully others will learn from it. But then now is what is my judgment to what knowledge is versus what is information that is fleeting. For example, information that is fleeting, though, is let's say a statistic. The statistic could be skewed or it could be correct. But even if a statistic was actually correct and not disingenuously skewed, it still would be fleeting. So then it wouldn't be knowledge. It wouldn't be timeless. So one of the things about knowledge is that knowledge is timeless. That means that throughout the entire day, there are many things we take in as knowledge in the gathering of knowledge, but almost none of it, though, is actual knowledge. Though it will be useful, though it may give us understanding, right? Its building blocks to get us there are based on other actual knowledge that we already have. So we have to be able to discern what is knowledge. Okay? I'll let people think about it longer, so I'll answer. Peace to the earth, wisdom infinite. All right. That's peace, Rahim. This video will be uploaded. Anyone could check it out. That way you can check it and say, damn, I don't know. I don't know about what Sunez is saying, or I do see it, or have more questions. Why, Supreme, you ask, do you have a method on reading faster? I have many methods. One is to read more. It sounds terrible, but read more. Put more on your plate to read. Expect more reading out of yourself. Force yourself to read a certain amount that is challenging. Challenging amount by time, by difficulty of the read, and the amount of pages you expect. Okay? Challenge yourself on all those three levels. Right? Type of book you're reading, how many pages you expect, right? And as you do that, that will tend to help. It'll tend you to grasp things better. Another thing, so more read is the answer most people don't want to hear, but that's really how you get better with it. Other methods, though, are to look at other things in your life. When do you decide to read? What time are you reading? Are you effective when you're reading? Is that the right time to read? Is that the only time you read? When you have energy, right? Are you reading? If you're getting tired, is it the time you're reading or the foods you're eating? Many of the foods people eat, though, let's just say that they're slow to digest, right? So it takes some time. Okay, so these are things to take note of. Okay. Also, other things when you read, your posture as you read. How is your neck aligned? Is it like this? Right? I read the majority of my books through my phone. I'm always testing to see if everything is aligned properly, which would lead me to lean forward, straight, right? Deliberately, or have some way to lift this up, right? If you're at home and you're on a bed, you read, you sit up, put a nice pillow there, read your book, right? But you have to have some way to fix this alignment here so that you read in a straight way, okay? You'll feel robotic at first if you don't read much, though, but the more you read, you get used to it, okay? And actually good for your posture, okay? And you could do all type of things. A lot of times I'll cross my leg, and then my leg is holding the book, right? or in this case, the phone. Like I told you, there's very few physical books I read, right? Um, but there are physical books I read, right? Um, to help you read faster, also difficult, not so difficult, very simple. So you vary from subject to subject. When you're more tired, when you have less energy, you read the easier books. When you have the good energy, read those books. Also, for me, this may not work for everyone. I play a lot. I play music all the time when I read. Not hip hop because I don't like people are talking. Sometimes I could be distracted if the song sung is sung really well and just I can't concentrate. However, um, sometimes the pacing of the music can also get your groove in. Okay, it can also get your groove in. You can get your groove as you go along. Peace, understanding, righteous. Peace, peace. All right, that's peace. All right. Any questions you have, please. I'm here. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Right. So, King, let's see how you're wrong. Since you're ready to be wrong, could knowledge be defined as facts, info, skills gained from experience or education? All of that leads to knowledge. All of that facts, info, skills. All of that is knowledge. Okay. Um, so no one is technically horridly wrong here, but I'm deliberately separating things so you see, because you're trying to teach people how to decipher what is knowledge and what is just information. And yet in the world, some of the information, much of the information that is not knowledge is actually needing to be used. P.E.A.C.E. Okay. Goods, you said read more, learn more words using reading tools. I was given an index card with a hole in the middle to focus on less words on the page, which allowed me to speed up eventually. Very interesting. Very interesting because when I'm reading faster and I'm ready to read faster, because I read them on the phone, you can adjust the print size. And when I'm reading very fast, I will put the print as small as possible. And that'll let me take in more words as I go along. So they're all different strategies. Yes, yes. Jazz helps a lot because the majority of it is instrumental. And sometimes if we get stuck on a singer or the beauty of a singer or and of course hip hop is talking, so there's other words. So it's really not good to read with that, you know? But there's such an array. Like I have such a instrumental music. There's such wonderful instrumental funk music. There's so much funk out there that's instrumental, or they're just repeating like a chorus for the whole thing, so it's easy to focus. Um, if you don't know Spanish well, getting into salsa is great. Put some Hector Lavoe though, because you don't know the lyrics, what they mean. You just be in the groove of the music. Um, so jazz, of course, I have a large array of instrumental beats, so so that helps. Right? There we go. Wisdom Infinite has kept it simple and has gotten closer to the answer. Okay. Knowledge is actual facts. Actual facts. Okay. Now, I would like you to describe what you mean by identity. Okay. That I don't. I'm a little confused by what you mean there. Okay. That'll help too. And with the streaming apps like a Spotify or YouTube Music, they have all that stuff. I was just listening to a lot of Chinese classical music. Um, and their stuff is beautiful too. We used to always train with clients Chinese classical. Right? Posture chair, proper lighting. If you're using physical books, if you're using a phone, in general, I always tell people with their phone, always be adjusting your phone light to be as low as possible. Okay, and put your blue light filter on your phone all the way up. Okay. Reread same books to gain speed. Yes, if there are valuable books that should be read, like As a Man Thinketh is a book I read every year. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes working on that, sure. All right. Absolutely. Absolutely. I appreciate that. But yeah, um, in the end, being interested in the subject matter um, and reading more is what's going to help. And then what you want to do is find a time that your energy levels are good. And after that, if your reading is not good, then you better fight. Because everything, to be great at anything or really good, you got to fight. All right, Wisdom Infinite, you said identity specificity. Okay. Okay. Um, maybe. I don't know. That might be a stretch. Knowledge doesn't have to be always so specific to be actual knowledge. But if we're talking about knowledge in supreme mathematics, I could see where you're going with that. Okay. Let me give you for my plus lesson on supreme mathematics, my definition. Okay. And it has what many of you have already been saying. Okay. Knowledge, idea of awareness, the actual fact, the truth that is the foundation of all that is further. It is a truth beyond like and dislike or good and bad. It merely is. It is the truth that all that is infinite can be expressed at each and every moment in a finite fact. Knowledge is infinite, yet it is constantly known. Thus, each aspect of knowledge is a point of awareness. The greatest awareness is of self as God or earth, and as it is the point of origin, it is the idea itself. An idea of awareness that we must learn more of. And then Raheem was around to it when he said awareness, though, and I was trying to get him to be more specific toward that. Looking back, because I like to give credit, no means to be aware. Okay, that's not quite there when he said it, because knowledge is not a, we're not defining knowledge as a state of you knowing yourself, because in actual fact the knowledge of self is something where you have it, and that is a state of having the knowledge of self. But actually knowing the self is a continuous effort, right? So that's a state of being. But the idea of knowledge itself is particular ideas of awareness, truthful ideas based on actual facts. They are the core of all creations. Okay? It is not to look, listen, and observe. Look, listen, and observe is the way that you are better equipped to get to knowledge, but it's not a definition. Accumulation of facts. It is not an accumulation. That is a verb. Okay, that is an action. Knowledge, we talk about knowledge. What is actual knowledge? Okay. And of course, I saw this right now. Can knowledge be defined as awareness of familiarity? I wouldn't say familiarity. Okay. Probably the familiarity of things is probably where knowledge can get confused. Okay. And where it gets muddled. Okay. Knowledge is something that we can never get familiar with. It has to constantly be tested. So even for, let's say, the specificity of your own identity, as Wisdom Infinite Earth said, ideally, the knowledge of self, the knowledge of myself, the knowledge of yourself is something that also is not, what's the word I'm looking for here? It's not static. Okay, it's ever in motion. Okay. Um, I just gave it, King. I just gave the ultimate definition. Divine, you asked me if I take notes of every book I read. Does taking note helps with written notes? Okay, yes. Um, as I read books, I highlight everything that is interesting because I read them digitally. I write notes inside the book. I every book that is I read way more books than I can catch up to. I have been behind on writing on the books I read, which I do regularly. That is one of the major things I do in my journal is write about the books I read. Um, so there's certain books, the most profound books, the most important books are the books that I try to write about immediately. Um, and yes, they help you remember everything. That's originally why I started a journal in 1998. Okay. King, you should have my plus lesson on supreme mathematics. So I had just read that. Okay. Clemente, peace. All right. I had just read it. So it's there. Okay. By the way, speaking of books, though, I am about ten pages away from finishing it. I thought I would make it and I thought I would finish it before I got here. Um, from finishing Killers of the Flower Moon. And, you know, like I said, I follow film, and my brother always has certain films I should watch. And I started watching Oppenheimer, and after the first 50 minutes, it's very intriguing. Um, they're really plotting it that he basically, that they were basically doing this heinous act of destruction and death to basically stop enemies from doing it first, though. And I just think that's a poor argument um, that a scientist would have. You know, a scientist is supposed to have a different morality that they are bred with, and he immediately dives into doing the atomic bomb based on the reasoning that they're going to do it first. So if we do it first, then we could kill them before they kill us, though. And that's a poor argument for a scientist that is supposed to be a man of humanity. But that's what they're going with in the book, in the movie. But it's very well done so far. Very interesting. But I was saying the advantage of books is that the Killers of the Flower Moon. I'm going to watch the movie, so I'll probably watch it this weekend. But I collect a lot of. I have a huge collection of Native American history books. You know, obviously being one of those 2 million Indians, that history always hits me close. So all types of history of the indigenous throughout the Americas, from the United States all the way through Latin America and the Latin Caribbean, where my ancestors, my immediate lineage is from, is something I really study. Um, but the Killers of the Flower Moon, I had heard about the Osage Nation in other books I read. Very intriguing people that were seen to be mighty warriors, all like they were all in the 6 to 7 foot range. They would describe warriors, you know, and the history is very important because there were deposits there that on where the Osage people had the land, and because of that, the way it worked out, not the way white people wanted to work out. It was a very rare occasion, not a rare occasion, the rarest occasion, the anomaly. Um, where now the people there were rich with the oil, and the Osage Nation, you know, at the time of the height of this oil rush in their land, per capita, they were the richest peoples in the world, and that bothered white people enough, though, that eventually led to these murders. I'll leave it there. But the book, if anybody's interested in reading that, you know, if you're gonna end up watching that movie, and I'm interested in watching the movie because it has indigenous actress Lily Gladstone that actually got nominated for Best Actress. So I'm very curious how she played the character that I read about. Um, but a very intriguing history, and there's no doubt in my mind that reading the book, you get more out of it though, because it really gave a lot of background on that devil, J. Edgar Hoover. Um, and it gave a lot of background after the murders were found, what happened to the community after, and the ending of the book, the large section of what happened to the community after is really the jewel of one of the best parts of the book. I did not think they would do that. Good. There we go. This is where we're getting at. You said, Goods, we are not babies necessarily on here. So what do you say to a child that knowledge is? Things you are aware of that are true and you can prove? That is an excellent start. That is an excellent start. Okay? All right? That is an excellent start. At the end of I said this only a few classes, but I said this before. Years ago, when my first daughter was young, I made a children's math build. I've been thinking about how to explain it to her easily. My oldest daughter, Luna, and I came up with this children's math build. I said, knowledge is get it, right? And this process of a truth that you get, okay? And I said, get it, use it, got it. So I kind of gave a children's math build based on the flow of it. That doesn't necessarily answer what knowledge is the way I'm saying here, because this children's math build I made was for her to understand the flow of it. But when we get into knowledge, I tell her what is absolutely true that can never not be true is the most pure knowledge. Something that can never not be knowledge. Okay? And when people look at it like that, then the other factor in helping them is knowledge is something that can be used, but it cannot be altered. Okay? Well, that's Peace G when you saw the movie. Okay, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I found the book. I'm 10 pages away from finishing it. Um, to be very insightful. It's not a difficult read at all, though. It's actually it won a Pulitzer Prize, but really for what he did, but not. Um, I'm sounding bougie here, but his writing style is not amazing. It's a basic, um, journalistic reporter style in a most simplest vein, but he tells the story excellently and the backgrounds of the origin story of the FBI. Yeah, it's important to know this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah, I found that very intriguing in the book. You know? Yeah, it's what happened to those original people are what happened to Black Wall Street. Like the same things. Like people talk about pulling yourself from your bootstraps and getting it in. It's a common theme when you hear hip hop. Like, I always hear that line repeated. I forgot. I think it was Cameron or somebody said it, but people repeat it a lot. Like, in a earth, in a world so big, how could you be broke or stuff like that? All that is bullshit. You know what I mean? We work hard here, but understand though that this society has developed a system that is designed to be pulled away from you. Okay, and anybody that says you can make money regardless to what though has taken morals and ethics out of the equation and it's taken out the macro reality that we are in. Now, when you take out those things and ignore the macro and also take away all of your ethics and morals, then making money becomes a lot easier and yet still could be difficult and should be, right? Right. But going back to explaining knowledge to a child, I would focus on knowledge that is absolutely true. And you can tell people, like I tell my kids, like, regardless to whom or what, though, I am your father. That is a fact. That is knowledge. So knowledge that could be altered, what people say happened, things that you didn't see and can't tell is true. People's stories, like for a child, one of the most important things to tell them is that the stories of others of what happened cannot be taken always as truth. And the more that they get understand this, to tell them that they should never be taken as truth, you know. So that's something, to work on, right? But with the children, I first explain the flow of it all. You see, and that's why if you notice though, it stumps everyone who really understand what knowledge is here to describe what knowledge is, because we're so caught up though, and this is very similar to Oppenheimer. They use quantum mechanics though to make this atomic bomb. Okay, the science. Anytime you study the science of the subatomic, you were dealing with quantum mechanics, and you were dealing with energy. You were dealing with energy and matter that is not decided. Literally, it is not decided yet. You know what I'm saying? So you're dealing with particles and waves. They could call them wavicles and things like that. And when you deal with things on that level, it's a perfect example because the Western world, right? And we could say, right, we certainly could say led by Oppenheimer because that's one of the biggest achievements of quantum mechanics, though, including our phones, including computers, all of these things. Um, that they learned how to use it. That they learned how to use it, right? But they didn't learn its real, deeper applications. So there became a disconnect with what science holds for humanity and then the functions of it. So the way they make Oppenheimer is that he's trying to save humanity, but in reality, though, he's really trying to save himself by helping to kill others first. I don't care what nationalism people talk about, okay? The whole idea that they flipped that if they figure it out first, then they could tell the Russians that, I mean, not the Russians, they're worried about the Russians always, but they could show the Germans that this would destroy the whole world. Um, but that I think that's movie script. You know what I mean? I don't. In the history of whites, the history of America particularly, their foresight for the goodwill of humanity has never been shown to be proven at all. It hasn't even been displayed yet. It hasn't even displayed yet. So that's why all these movies, though, we can only see gross horrors like Killers of the Flower Moon, or we could see um, a humanizing of people that consciously got together to do a dehumanizing act. You know, and that's a real thing. You know. Yes, yes. Quantum mechanics is certainly something to study. You know what? There's everybody can get this app. It's Tubi. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna put you a stupid movie, but a terrible movie on Tubi. No, but to show you someone that studied quantum mechanics and then did something that is profound and to this day is still engaging in this profound activism and work is Vandana Shiva. Um, Vandana Shiva is pretty the foremost person that to have kept GMOs out of India. She's the foremost person to really advocate for the natural seeds against GMOs. Um, One of the great leaders of this generation, and I've seen her. I've seen her actually speak years ago. I think it was 2010 or something, and just a wonderful original woman, and literally the Earth Nature. Her university is called the Earth University, and it teaches people how to save seeds, and they have a great seed bank of saving seeds. And she has many books. If anybody's interested in any of the books, I'm going to write her name here. Um, watch her lectures, all that. But Tubi, which is a free app, actually has her documentary, and I didn't know it was on there until I was thinking about this, and I looked it up because I had never seen the documentary. It's from 2021. It's called "The Seeds of Vandana Shiva," the documentary about her life and everything, and it's on Tubi. Okay, so there's actually something worthwhile on Tubi. So good. I found it. And if anybody is interested in any books about Vandana Shiva, once you start to learn about her and stuff, I have plenty. Um, Knowledge is the foundation because I have to know or be aware of something for it to exist in my reality. That is a very strong answer. That is a very strong answer. But something could be knowledge, right? And yet not necessarily exist in your conscious reality. You are not conscious of it, right? Peace, Malik. Yeah, go figure. So I found, I did the impossible. I found something worthwhile to watch on Tubi. Besides Miami Vice, but no, there's a lot of old programs are here that's good though. But
All right. See, that's what I'm saying. Oh, pardon me.
that's peace, guy.
After it was like,
All right, peace. I am actually reading a book about Tesla. I don't know everything I'd like to know about him, but I am reading about him, and what I've read and learned about him so far, certainly, um, as far as what I'm saying about the morals and ethics of a scientist, he is um, he's exactly the example that I was mentioning. You know, um, now I'm not saying that they always get it right though, but I feel like it's been thrown away in this movie Oppenheimer, um, and I can't see it no other way. You know, there's something that we have to admit though about Jewish reality is that just like Oppenheimer was Jewish, that once a Jewish people feel threatened, whether real or not so real, um, it is a narrative to play since World War II and the whole horror of the Holocaust that they can eradicate anyone due to that, that they are allowed to kill anyone due to that. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, Mr. G1. I'm definitely gonna check for that after. I love Vandana Shiva. I'm telling you, like, um, she's one of the most beautiful people that I have ever learned from. That is in this, that is alive today. You know, does beautiful things, great work, incredible speaker. But Tesla suffered for his integrity, and that's something that I immediately respect out of Tesla, let alone his many genius inventions. You know, because he was getting, you know, swindled out of a lot of his inventions. You know, Yeah, I don't. They have some good movies. They have a lot. It's their new movies that they make themselves, and they have a lot of shitty movies too. Like I said, it's a big database of whatever they collect, so you have to dig through it. They've got some stuff to watch. You know what I'm saying? Um, and they got some documentaries. I saw they had some documentaries about GMOs and everything too. So, um, yeah, I don't know. Speed of Dark. I have never heard that. I've never heard that that term like that. Um, I'm not sure I have. You know, so no, I cannot build on something I haven't heard of. But it's where did you hear that? Um. Oh, if you're talking about the speed of dark, like it would be the same speed. The same speed. You know, when you research that, it's the same speed. Because when you talk about dark matter and stuff like that, then it would apply to that. But see, scientists they describe darkness as the absence of light. You know, and that's where I would beg to differ. I don't think it's that. I think darkness is the presence of all light, and light that we see is a specific light that cuts through. So I think that darkness is something very, very real, and that's why dark matter and stuff hasn't really been defined yet. You know, so I think the parameters might be different, the perspective. But if we talk about what scientists say about the speed of dark, they say it's the same speed as the speed of light. You know, but yeah, I never hear that term that much. You know, only when people start to talk about dark matter do they ponder about darkness itself. You know, peace of God, Ravs King. All right.
Skip over all the shit you do.
Okay. Oh, that's too bad. But however, Vandana Shiva has many books I can share with you. And YouTube, there's many lectures. In fact, there's many great. If you really did, because I've been studying her for years, for years. I'll say about 15 to 20 years. Um, she has been in even debates versus people supporting GMOs and other things. Um, she is really valiant, and if you go do a deep dive into YouTube, you're gonna find great stuff, great interviews, great lectures. If you're really studying how to speak and how to articulate your points succinctly, properly, and without compromise in all different types of ciphers with clarity, she's one of the people to study. You know, she's one of the people to study. Malik, you said wasn't colored used to disparage us, so what did Elijah mean in a second degree in 1 to 10? That's exactly why he used the word colored. It's used to describe us, and he showed that it's a wrong word to describe us, and rather should be describe them as they're the ones who have been colored in action taken upon them, right? So, right. So that's what that is. Piece to 793rd. Remember, color is a color. Colored is an action taken upon something. Okay. So when we look at something that is a color, is something that reflects light. The more, the lighter a color, the more it reflects light. The what reflects the most light, right? Is what is white. White reflects all light. This is why we wear it in the summer. Okay. Black is the presence of all light. Okay. Yeah, that's exactly it. G1, yeah. Made that way, yeah. Made. Something that was colored. Something was colored. Okay. And that's why the term was used that way. Okay, I'm gonna be here for about 20 minutes. Let me know what you got. Any questions about anything, where you're at with lessons, whatever it is. Okay? Good question. An example of the useful land for that colored man. Now, Divine, did I start you on 1 to 10? You got my email, right? I don't remember starting you on 1 to 10. I remember giving you supreme math and alphabet, having you start on supreme mathematics, but you're asking me questions about 1 to 10. So I'm wondering where you got that, right? Now, Julia, I don't know what you have, though. Well, where you at in your studies, if you knowledge 120 or anything that you're asking me if you should get a copy of Supreme Wisdom, you're not going to get you. That's from the Nation of Islam, so that's your choice if you want to go to Nation Islam and see if you get that. I don't know. It's an interesting question. I can't tell you what to do with that. Well, Devon, you're skipping ahead. Okay, you're skipping ahead because you need to tell me you got terms that are much more important in Supreme Mathematics, right? I didn't hear you speak about or offer your definition of knowledge. I didn't know, or any of the mathematics, including the most important for you right now is God. I didn't hear you try to explain what God is, how you are God, or any of these questions. Okay, so please stop using what's in the internet. Please stop using what's in the internet. If someone was actually in our nation, like actually in this, they wouldn't have put it on the put it on the internet. They prove they're not in this though because they share something that must be taught personally and they put it on the internet. They do you a disservice because I didn't even go through any of that site though to see if it's correct. And if it was correct though, it's still without instruction. Okay. There are plenty of other things that you can study online to get yourself hurt, like try to do some kung fu moves or something that you see on the internet and pull a muscle or break a bone, you know. But with this knowledge, don't do that because you're wasting your time. And look at your line of questioning, and I'm exposing everything so you see the point. You're asking me about what the colored man could use a useful land. So you read all of that, and you're worried about what the white man's doing with something. This is why you have to go through the lessons. If you're saying that I'm going to teach it to you, go through it, what I gave you and analyze and ask questions about what I gave you. Because you just showed, out of all the things that you saw, your concern is about what white folk might be doing with some type of land and what do they mean by that. Not what is useful land for the original, none of that. Why am I original? None of that. None of these questions. How are we makers and owners when we own nothing? None of these questions have come up though, right? What is Christianity 551 years ago? That didn't hit you, but you was looking at those, right? Why is Buddhism and Christianity the only two religions in there? All of these questions could have hit you, but you skipped to that one, right? Okay? Focus on what I gave you, okay? I didn't tell you to rip anything up though, but right now, none of that is useful to you. You don't even know if it's wrong. Okay, because the only person that you know that could validate that and say it was correct is me, and I didn't look at it, and I don't care to look at it. I looked at it and I knew it was weak. Okay, but look at your mentality. You didn't ask about the useful land for the original man because you're assuming, well, I'm original. We ain't got shit. What are these white folk doing? So I have to go according to how you're taught. Don't skip ahead. You can read ahead, check things ahead. You can do all type of stuff. But don't mean that you're not going to pull a muscle, hurt yourself. You know? Because I know borns, I know infinites, and whatever that putting that stuff on the page is dishonoring every single person I know that's righteous, that's named born, that's righteous, and is named infinite. We wouldn't do that. And if that person is somewhere around though and disagrees that made that site that's so supposedly called born infinite, they could come see me. I'm right here. Just like every troll on this damn internet space and this YouTube world. I'm right here. Good. You got it at the right time. Okay. Now that you're getting something, right? When you want to learn something, it doesn't help to have a bad version of what you want to learn. It's better not to go learning that at all. If you want to read a book about something, about a particular topic, and you only have a bad history book about the topic, it is better to read about something else than read that particular book. There were endless amount of books, endless amount of research. There is no need to waste your time be satisfying a supposed hunger, right? Now let's deep into that metaphor. How hungry are you that you'll just go eat some swine that you see? Now we wouldn't do that, but we end up doing that in the way that we research. We actually absorb something. We do the analysis of something that is sloppy, that is not verified. If someone really learned this, though, they would know that it is disingenuous to share it all like that without some kind of clarification. And they would take note and put themselves in the eyes of the person that would be reading the site and realize that it would not really be very useful. See? And I'm saying this, Divine, because knowing the moments that we're learning this knowledge and how we were 85 and getting this knowledge as a newborn is something to remember. And this right here is a learning moment that maybe I might not remember so well, but you better. All right? It's very important. And as I teach you and I share with you, I'm going to keep reminding you about it. 793, you said relevant, essential, useful, proven data and information, solely centering myself as the foundation within my family. One is the good answer. The rest of it is a good way of seeing yourself as knowledge. Okay, they are two different definitions for knowledge. Know the difference for when you build with people. Okay, the major reason and the use of the definition of knowledge to know how to build on it is to show people how to analyze. Okay, what can be verifiable, what cannot be verified, what is worthwhile. All right, very important. Malik, not the trolls, right? Yeah. All right, I'm here for 10 more minutes, so please. G1, excellent add-on with the root. Latin word, the Latin root of the word error means to stray. Stay rooted from the found with the found with the foundation, right? Okay, any questions? Throw them on there. I'm gonna type this right here real quick and check. But I never knew that Elijah studied at the Library of Congress, so I can't tell you. Um, okay. If he mentioned that in the book, I think there's only one Library of Congress, you know. So if you say which Library of Congress, there's only one, right? Washington D.C. So, but I don't remember him saying that. It's a lot. A bit. That's one book that I actually have not read again in a long time. Um, I've revisited parts of it, but I've never reread it since I first read it when I was getting knowledge. You know. Books on discipline. Hmm. You know, it's funny you say that because I don't really look at books to read about discipline. You either have it and you make sure you have it. You make yourself have it. You know what I mean? So, you know, there's books about time management. I can't think off the head. Um, but if you email me, I could probably get you some books that might help in that direction. You know what I mean? When we talk about mental discipline, okay, that's the only discipline there is, right? But remember that your mental discipline starts with your physical discipline. Okay, if you can focus your mental discipline, the first way it gets focused though is in how you train your body. You know, that's for every man. You develop a physical discipline to training, physically training the body in some type of way. that'll start to reflect in other areas. Okay, pieces of God, self-magnetic. Divine, most importantly, divine, continue to ask questions, right? You're thinking that that question that you just asked blew up in your face, but it didn't, though. It taught you something you really needed to learn. And to be a student, you have to be fearless, though, in that possibility of what you do in the laboratory of the classroom, that it explodes in your face. Okay? That's how you learn. Okay? So it's an excellent moment for you. Thank you, Julia. I don't remember that part, but I also wouldn't say I know the book he was referring to. For him to get. All right. All right. So with that said, I'm gonna put my email here. I'm gonna expect people to ask things, maybe for some of the books that I talked about, or any other books. Um, Definitely, Iman, email me so that way I remember to get you these type of books. There's a lot of books. Obviously, you want to, as a man, think if there's a book that starts you with that, but there's other books too, and I can find some books. Okay. All right. Okay. So I'm gonna let everybody go. I'm gonna expect you to contact me. I think that the contributions that everybody made today was very strong. Okay. And I wanted to make everybody wrong, but everybody was right in some way. All right. Yes, goods. Let me know. Let me know. All right. Do you get gold for these tubes of you? You mean the class? No, I don't know. Whether I do it on the YouTube or in the classroom here, with or without the YouTube, no, I don't get any money from this. Look back to the beginning of this classroom, though. Okay, knowledge is not accumulation of facts. Okay, that means that the knowledge is based on its accumulation. But what is knowledge? Okay, the awareness, getting closer there. Okay. But no, I don't get money from the YouTube here. Okay. If anybody wants to give me money, I have plenty of books, I have music, I have many things that people could purchase if they want to support. Okay, including a new book that's out now. All right. So, but no, this is something that I do, and I don't get any money out of this. I don't get money from the YouTube or anything. All right. All right. With that said, time to let everybody go. All right. Until next week, and certainly, hopefully, before that, as you correspond with me. Peace.